Some disclaimers before we begin. 1, there may be some background noise, and 2, this is being recorded live, so expect some mistakes. Chapter 5, Monitored. Frank. I'm not sure who was the least comfortable when Sherelle led Joe and me into Neanderthal Bunyan's bedroom that afternoon. Neanderthal was lying back on his bed, all his attention focused on the football-themed video game he was playing on the TV that hung on the wall. "Get out, Sherelle," he said without looking up, but when 3 people walked in and not one, he sighed, hit the pause button and looked up. "Oh," he said, looking startled and not pleased. "You need help, Neil," Sherelle said in a bossy voice. I had a sudden premonition of what it might feel like to have Sherelle as a sister, and a chill ran down my spine. "I asked these guys to come over because I knew you never would." Neanderthal didn't say anything. He was staring from me to Joe with a curled lip like he smelled something horrible. "I don't need any help from these two," he said, and picked up the game controller again. He unpaused the game and turned his attention back to the screen. "You can show yourselves out," he finished. Fair enough. I touched Joe's arm and started heading for the door. We weren't supposed to be doing any investigation right now, so I wasted time trying to convince the guy I didn't even want our help. But Joe seemed to hesitate, looking into Sherelle. Suddenly she jumped forward, grabbing the controller from her brother's hand. "Hey!" Neanderthal yelled. "Hey yourself!" she shouted back, matching him on volume. She gestured to me and Joe. "I asked these guys to come over today because even though you don't have the best history, they're the only ones who can help you," Sherelle finished. Neanderthal pursed his lips. Clearly he didn't like the direction of this conversation, but I could tell that Sherelle's words were making a dent. He let out a groan and looked down at his New York Giants comforter. Then he crossed his arms and settled back against the head of his bed, still scowling, not looking at us. "Do you want to tell them what happened?" Sherelle asked, moving closer to the bed. Neanderthal shook his head. "You tell them," he muttered. Sherelle turned back to face Joe and me. "Okay," she said. "About a week ago, Neil started getting some very weird emails." I nodded slowly. "Weirder than the email this morning with the link to the movie trailer?" Neanderthal gave me a contemptuous look. "Dude, way weirder than that," he said. "What do I care about you guys getting robbed in some bank? No, this was..." He trailed off, staring into the distance, fear invading his expression. Not sure how to proceed, I looked at Sherelle. "This was?" I prompted. Sherelle looked at Neanderthal as though waiting to see whether he could pull himself together and finish the story. When he didn't move for a few seconds, she sighed and turned back to us. "This was really creepy," she said. "The address is one he didn't recognize, and the email itself was just a link. No signature, no message." I looked at Joe. This was sounding familiar. "Okay, and?" Sherelle paused and looked at her brother. "Tell them, Neil." We both turned to face Neil. He was staring at the black television screen, and as we watched, he seemed to shake himself off and look down at his comforter. "The link went to a video," he said, then swallowed. "The video was... It wasn't me sleeping," he said quickly, then shook his head again. I looked at Joe. He looked just as confused as I felt. "Sleeping?" he asked. As in right here, in this bed," Neanderthal said, patting the mattress beneath him. "I don't know when it was taken, or how, or by who, but whoever made it..." His voice wavered. "They were watching me all night." I met Joe's eyes. "Wow, that's really creepy," Joe finished. He shivered a little. "Man, I think I have the willies now." Neanderthal looked a little relieved. "Yeah?" he asked. "It's freaking me out too. I just don't know who would want to watch me sleep. Or why." "That's not all," Sherelle added. "It's not?" I asked. Neanderthal was shaking his head. "No," he said. "The really creepy thing is, it's happened more than once. I've gotten 3 videos emailed to me over the last 5 days. I frowned. "So whoever's watching you sleep, they might be doing it a lot." Neanderthal nodded. "And it looks like... this really creeps me out, but it looks like you can watch the video feed live on the web. They email me links to the recordings, but there's also a link to watch the live video." He paused. "I just don't get it," he said finally. "I don't know who would want me monitored. I don't think I have any enemies. Besides you guys." "Touché." I looked at Joe. "Can we see them?" he asked. Neanderthal looked a little uncomfortable, but he nodded. "Yeah, let me just fire up my computer." Well, I walked over to the desk on the left side of the room and opened up a blue laptop. I took a quick scan of the room, looking for anything suspicious and camera-like. Nothing stood out, though. Neanderthal had a surprisingly minimalist decorating style. Whoever hid in the camera in here must have really tried hard. After a minute or so, Neanderthal called us over to his computer. He had a web browser open to his email. Here it is. He clicked on a message from Europe@fastneil.net. There was no subject, and when the message opened, it contained only a link. Neanderthal clicked on the link, and a grainy black and white video started up. It took me a minute to figure out what all the shapes were in the dim light, but then I could make out Neanderthal in his bed, tossing and turning, then lying still. The video was silent apart from the sound of Neanderthal breathing and the occasional creak of the springs in his mattress. "Whoa," muttered Joe. "Have you looked for a camera?" I asked. I turned in the direction the video was shot from. It looked like the camera had been on Neanderthal's shelf of sports trophies. "That's the really creepy thing," Neanderthal said, clicking back to the web browser and opening up another email. He clicked on that link and another grainy black and white video started up. This one shot from a totally different direction. It looked like this camera had been posted just above his door. What the? "Every time I get a video, I look for the camera," Neanderthal explained. "But I never find anything, not even anything they might have hidden the camera inside. It's like each time they film me, they're sneaking in a camera and coming back in, taking it out, and uploading the video and sending you the link," Joe finished. Neanderthal nodded. "I keep searching my room," he said. "Every night before bed I look for a camera, but I never find it. Lately," he stopped and rubbed his temples. "Lately the videos start after I'm already asleep. I feel like they're sneaking in." "While you're sleeping?" I asked. "Super creepy." Neanderthal sighed and nodded. "I can't believe it either," he said. "The last couple nights I set my alarm to wake up at 1 in the morning and then again at 3. I figure I'll get up and check the web, figuring that if the video is running I can at least find the camera." I nodded. "And how's that worked out?" I asked. Neanderthal and Sherelle exchanged a concerned look. "It hasn't," Neanderthal admitted. "I wake up in the morning finding someone turned off the alarm." A chill went down my spine. "Wow." "We tried to set up our own camera the other night," added Sherelle. "But when we tried to watch the footage, it was 2 hours of Neil sleeping and then it just went black. It was like someone disabled the camera without ever being seen." Joey's mouth was hanging open. "That is... wow." Sherelle turned to me. "We have a burglar alarm," she said. "My parents set it every night when they lock the door, which is hours before Neil goes to bed. It monitors all the doors and windows. But lately we noticed after each time the alarm has been turned off somehow." Joe shook his head and let out a low whistle. "How are they doing it?" he asked. I looked around the room, then walked over to the windows, giving them a little jiggle. Everything looked really secure. "Is there anyone outside the family who has the code to the alarm?" I asked. "No way," Cheryl scoffed. "Mom guards that code with her life. She wouldn't even give it to either of us till we turned 16. I nodded, slowly looking at Joe. He looked just as lost as I felt. "Okay," I said, trying to gather my wits. "I'm glad you reached out to us, Sherelle, because I think we can help. Here's what we're going to do.